Hi, Maycee.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm doing quite well. It doesn't even look like you were in a fist fight. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great. Just a couple bumps and bruises, but I feel really good compared to the last fight. I actually got to walk and have my legs be feeling great.
What do you mean? Oh, because of the weight cut?
Yeah, a little bit of the weight cut, and then the fight before this one, I was battling with a little bit of a knee injury, so.
Oh, right.
Or I got one in the fight, so. No, this one I came out feeling pretty great.
All right, so give me a sense of things. What kind of grade would you give your performance?
I don't know. I mean, obviously there are mistakes that I made, but I'm happy with the way the performance went. I couldn't be more happy with it because, just like I told several people, I feel like I needed to show that side of me. The fact that I got dropped and the fact that, I took a couple of hits, obviously that's not what we want to do. But I'm happy with the performance.
All right, so talk to me about.
I showed a lot.
You certainly did, which I want to get to, but let's talk about the strategy ahead of time. What was it?
The strategy was definitely to use our movement, use our range, and just outmove her and obviously not get hit with the strikes that we got hit with, and to wait on her for the counters, but also just go out there and be myself.
Now, the counters were working a lot better in the second round, which we'll talk about. Why was she having some success in the first? When you diagnosed the fight, what do you attribute to her landing a little bit and, of course, dropping you once?
Well, one, she's a great fighter. She's solid. And then two is I didn't feel like myself quite until the second round. And I don't know if that was more so that I was giving her more respect, or a lot more the respect than I have in the past for other opponents. But I definitely was a little more cautious. So I knew that she could hit, and I just didn't quite find my rhythm yet. And she was having more success than I was, for sure. And I also was I was in southpaw, which all through camp I felt fantastic, felt great in the southpaw stance, and I didn't feel very good in the orthodox stance. And then when we switched rounds, I ended up going to the orthodox stance, and I felt way better, even though through the entire camp I didn't see myself fighting this fight in an orthodox stance.
That's interesting. So when you got knocked down, what went through your head?
I didn't feel like it was over, and I've never had that happen to me, really. I've had a few girls catch me where I was off balance, and that's because I throw a lot of naked kicks, and that's something that we have to continue to fix, and that's a bad habit that I have had in the past fights, and these girls are getting my number on that, so I definitely had to fix that. But some people were like, oh, well, she just caught you off balance or whatever. But I don't remember necessarily with the emotion that I had, other than it's not over. I didn't feel like it's over, and I'm not going to quit. I just felt like I had to get back up, and I was surprised, if I was in her position, I probably would have put a little more pressure on it and not let me get back up quite like she did. But I'm glad she let me get back up, or I continued to try to fight to get back up, as long as I didn't take any shots on the way up.
What did your coach Mark Montoya say to you between rounds?
Those guys are just telling me throw your hands before your kicks. Mark wanted me to lead with the hands, not with the feet. And that was what they were all telling me. He's like, you gotta set up your hands to your kicks and blend those to your kicks. And then he also wanted me to set up the takedown. And I was a little confused at first. I was like, oh, okay, I'll get that. And but I more so heard them during the fight in a subconscious. When they said to switch to southpaw, because once I switched from southpaw to orthodox, they're like, keep it up, keep it up, keep it up. And then they told me to pressure. And I don't know if I necessarily heard them and was like, okay, that's what I need to do. But it was kind of like a subconscious, I felt them say that. And that's what we did.
So the second round comes out, went a lot better for you. Here's what I noticed. Number one, the resiliency in the first round, which is an important test for a young fighter. Second round, the accuracy was good. But here's what I noticed between you and her. Looked to me like there was a pretty clear power differential in your favor. You seem to just hit a lot harder.
I definitely hit a lot harder. She's accurate with her strikes, but she's not the hardest hitter I've ever been hit by. Hannah Cyphers by far is the hardest girl I've ever been hit by, but I hit way harder than all of those girls, all of them, hands down. I know my power. I know the power I possess, and I definitely have it.
Yeah. So once you stung her, man, the fight just collapsed so quickly.
Still let the pins go.
Right. And you were winging you were doing that bit where the shot was coming and you could see the whole torso follow along, like you were torquing into that thing. How when you landed that one shot where she kind of stumbled and covered, did you know it was over at that point?
Well, as soon as I landed that first one, that first cross, and she kind of like started to back up, and then right before she clinched up with me, I knew that was the one, and I knew that her reaction was going to be to try to tie up with me, and that's also another tell that they're hurt. You know, when someone tries to tie up with their opponent, you know they're hurt, because that's like the safety. I need to get to safety so I can let my brain recover. But yeah, as soon as I hit her with that one, I'm like, oh, it's over. But as soon as I connected that one, that's a good feeling, because you can just feel it, you know. And yeah, it was over from there.
So did you hit her in the eye? I went back and I watched the fight today and prepped for this interview. It looked like there was one shot along the fence line that's when she covered up and then stopped reacting. Do you know what punch? What was that?
I know there was two that landed really solid. It was my right hand. I doubled it up, so I hit with almost like a hook, and I threw it straight right after that. And both of those landed first, and then she covered her face, and then that knee came up.
Right.
And I don't know if I landed that knee. I didn't feel like I landed it. I didn't even know I threw it. Everyone's like, you threw that knee. It was brutal. And I'm like, I watched it back a couple of times. I didn't see it that it landed that hard. But those two hands, that right hand that I doubled up, definitely hit. And then those hooks, just the repetitive ones at the end, continued. You know, that's what stopped it. Because as soon as like the ref starts to come in, I feel like it's less about the power shots and more just about like keep ripping them as fast as you can and as hard as you can, because you don't want to take too much time in between, because it looks a little bit less, I guess, damaging.
Yeah, well, Keith Peterson, she wasn't reacting. So I mean, Keith Peterson had little choice at that point. You know what I mean? So if I had to ask you what test you passed with this fight, what would you say?
Definitely I passed the test of, you know, if I can come back from losing a round, because I think that's the first round I've ever lost in a fight. It was the first round of that fight, and I knew I lost it, but it wasn't like, crap, I lost that fight, like I lost that round. I didn't let that emotion get to me. I try to keep a level head. So knowing that I lost the round and I didn't let that get under my skin at even the slightest bit, it didn't change anything in me. You know, I was still going for the finish. I'm still going to go and fight like I'm winning the entire fight. So I feel like I passed that test of, can you come back from a round that you've already lost and not let it get under your skin? And then I also feel like I passed the test of, can she take a hit and get dropped? Not that we want to see that, but can she take a hit, get dropped, and come back from that? You know, because a lot of girls, obviously that wasn't like a terrible, like she got dropped and it was bad. But, you know, it was good to see that I got hit a few times in the head, and I kept coming, and I didn't shy away from punches after that. You know, I didn't feel like I was flinching a lot. But it looked like I was flinching, because I remember hearing her corner say, oh, she's biting on it. She's biting on it. She's biting on it. And I knew that they were saying that, because I wasn't necessarily biting on it. I was just more so, you know, she would faint, and then I would faint, and then she would faint, and then I would faint. And I was more so trying to get her to throw that hand so that I could counter off of it. But it was a little bit of a back and forth, but definitely the resilience, like you said, and the keeping the level head in the fight.
You know, you made a point to distinguish yourself from Ronda Rousey, which I thought was kind of interesting. You seem to have a real sense about who to model yourself after. So, for example, you have said you wanted to beat John Jones's record to become the youngest champion, and that you are not, you know, the next Ronda Rousey. So, who is the appropriate model for you? Is it John Jones? Yes, you're trying to beat him, but is that, from a professional standpoint, forget some of the issues he's had, but just the in-cage stuff, the accomplishments, is that who you're modeling yourself after? Like, when you look to somebody for a kind of path, who is it?
Honestly, I don't know if I have a specific one. I couldn't give you an answer because there's so many athletes that their styles are amazing. You know, Demetrius Johnson has a great style. The I'll fight anyone, anytime, anywhere from Cowboy. John Jones and his ability to maximize his range and his fight style, and the youngest fighter, Ronda's confidence in herself. Like, there's so many bits and pieces that I study a lot of people, and I don't just study their fighting style. I study their mindset and all of that. And there are good things and there are bad things, and I try to take away from all of them. So if I'm trying to model myself after any of them, it's almost like I'm trying to take a piece from everyone in the sport.
What's
I try to take something good.
What is one thing that fighters at your stage of their career get wrong that you know you should not do?
At my stage in their career?
Yeah. So you're 7-0.
I feel like they get a little too excited about the success and about the probably just get caught up in the success and oh, look at me, I'm finally making money, and I'm right on the edge of that. You know, I'm not the kind of person that, you know, as soon as I start making and having more success, that I'm just gonna, you know, try to take it and be like, all right, let's go buy a new car, let's go buy this. And I don't know if that's what every athlete does, but I know that that's what some young people do, especially guys, and they kind of get, you know, caught up in that of like, oh, I need to do this and this and this for the fame or for this. But honestly, you know, I know that the fame is going to come and the success is going to come from there. But the main thing is, you know, taking what I make and taking all my success and returning it, it's putting it back into the bank of, okay, I need to go and elevate this. I need to change this in this training camp. I need to make my camp a little bit smoother, you know, because as good as my camp was, it can be way better than it was. So I feel like I'm almost the extreme opposite of, you know, I don't want to take a time off. I don't want to take a week off. I don't want to go on vacation. I just want to go and I want to I already wrote down notes of, you know, we need to fix this in the camp, we need to talk about this. And just ways to elevate. So I feel like everyone's like, oh, I need a break. You know, they're like, I just spent the entire camp and now I just want to chill and go on vacation. And I feel like that's the thing I'm a little bit different on.
So it's kind of funny because I spoke to Israel Adesanya, right, in 1 year's time. So from like February 11 to the next February 11, the dude had 5 fights and he won them all with this crazy level of activity. Is that what you're going for?
Yeah, I feel like the more active you are, the faster the success is going to come, and it also helps you mentally to stay there. You know, when you're consistently in the gym, it's hard to fall off track. You know, when you're around the people that know where you're going. If you have a goal and you set it, and you're a motivated person, you can't let yourself get sidetracked and lose focus of what you're trying to go after. And it's a time critical sport. You know, we can't just take these fights and go slow and go slow through our career, because injuries are real. And, you know, if you take a fight and you fight once and then you get injured, well, you can't fight those 5 fights. So as long as you're healthy, I feel like the more you stay consistent fighting, you're just maximizing your time in the ring, because at some point you never know if an injury is going to come up or something's going to come up where you can't fight. So as long as you're healthy, you should just do it.
Do you how much does each fight? You've only had 2 in the UFC now. Well, we had the Dana White Tuesday Night Contender Series, but 2 like official UFC cards. Yeah, right. So here's the deal: like, are you feeling the increasing weight of things yet, or are they still relatively? These are still relatively modest growth periods.
No, I don't think I feel like the weight. And if you're meaning like pressure, like in terms of that, I definitely take a lot more serious. So I took my first fight in the UFC super serious. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like as each one comes, I will get more and more in tune to what I need to do, and a little more focused on. Okay, I'll put a little bit more. Like I'm a little less energetic in some areas, or I'll need to breathe a little bit more. But it's mainly because I'm just trying to keep a level head for the fight. You know, I just know. Okay, I can't get my nerves up here. I need to get it up here. I can't get my excitement up here. I need to get it up here. I need to save this for this time and place in the camp. And just figuring out the timing of when to let it happen. So that's I think that's the only thing that I've learned that I need to continue to change as this career goes on.
So 1 year from now, what are we talking about for your career? What will have happened? Imagine this is the next Monday, 1 year from today, right? What's the headline on MMAFighting.com?
Well, 1 year from today, I will be almost 22, and I will definitely be in the area for that title fight, sometime within that year for sure. So that's something that'll be probably popping up at some point. If not, maybe sooner, maybe not. I'm not trying to rush a title shot at all. I'd like to continue to keep this success, but I still have almost 3 years, and yeah.
Are you looking to fight on International Fight Week? Like, target me your next position on the calendar.
I am. I would like to fight International Fight Week in July. Now, when that would be, I don't know what part of the week or the opponent. I don't know yet. I just got out here to Vegas, actually. So I got here last night, and I'm going to spend the week out here, talk with everyone, do some medical stuff, and figure it out from there.
With the UFC, the PI, all that stuff?
Yeah. I'm headed there in like 10 minutes.
Well, look at that. No rest for the weary. Well, I tell you what, that was a real important win. Showed a lot of grit, showed a lot of ability, and you're on your way. Congratulations. I can't wait to see what you guys have in store next. Say again?
Thank you so much. I said I appreciate your time. You guys do a great job.
Well, there you go. Thank you, Maycee. Have fun. All right,
Thank
there
you.
she goes.